Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. It is March, which means I have allergies and I sound hoarse. So I apologize for that in advance, but I'm so excited to bring to you today this conversation about how a FarmHER, my guest here, however I point, feeds Music City. She's the owner of Bloomsbury Farm in Tennessee, outside of Nashville. She growing USDA organic produce in the middle of Tennessee with a homeschool tutorial. And she loves entertaining and having people experience the farm for themselves. And she has a huge passion for community and the food system. So, Lauren Palmer, Farm Her, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Tracy. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited. And I love the blue skies considering that we had a torrential rain. Did you get the torrential rain yesterday?
Was it Sunday night or yeah, Sunday night. Yeah,
Yeah.
not I'm thinking critters and hoop houses and my flowers are gonna get pushed over. So yeah, you can't sleep knowing that all that's happening outside.
Yeah, it was really rainy and scary yesterday here in Eastern North Carolina. So I'm so excited to talk to you and introduce you to everybody, or everybody introduce everybody to you. And before we got on the show, we were talking about how your parents bought this land, and 17 years ago they said, "Can you help us make something of this?" And
Right.
you have been doing organic farming for 17 years on this land.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to jump into that first question that I had presented to you before, but I think your dad said it to you. The motto is bloom where you're planted. And so how did that growing up on this land that your parents have bought, and that philosophy shape the farm her that you've become?
Yeah, I mean, Dad has a green thumb and he grows orchids
Oh,
as a hobby. And I went on landscape gigs with him all the time before he retired. So and mom's a very savvy like businesswoman. So with the combination of, a green thumb dad and kick butt mom like turned me into um reach getting food to lots of different people. So we're pretty local. Mom and dad both went to MTSU here in Middle Tennessee. And so blooming where I'm planted is exactly what we're doing here. And, getting, yeah, lots of food to lots of different people and selling it a bunch of different ways that I don't think a lot of farms do. They kind of maybe pick a lane, but I went ADD style and picked every lane. So it's been lots of fun. So yeah.
so when you started, I mean, how much land were you using when you first started, and what are you farming now?
Yeah, I remember picking out a little plot right across from the creek. My dad and I sitting on the hillside being like, okay, well, where do we want to dig up first? And we picked a little spot and we just started tilling and putting seeds in the ground. I opened up the Johnny's catalog and the vegetables that I thought were pretty and looked good and displayed well. It was all kind of like by eye and learned as I did. So I did intern on a little farm who was doing market gardening. So I had about a summer's worth of experience before I just put seeds in the ground
Wow.
and yeah, so kind of wild.
That is kinda wild. I mean, considering the fact that you're selling to restaurants and hotels and, convention centers and the CSA, so, that's amazing. So, is it 400 acres? Is that right?
There's 400 acres, and then yeah, I think we're farming on about 15 right now, and we've got like 12 hoop houses. So yeah, I took the veggies to my house at one point and washed vegetables at my house, and then loaded up in my car and took to town. But as like things kind of made more sense, hired some people to put in uh, the CSA that needed more structure. I was very romantic and growing, and so I had people kind of help along the way. Um, so yeah, we kind of figured it out. Lots of mistakes, but we got there, and it's been fun to kind of be honest and open about all of that and
Mhm.
ask people what they needed from me. Do you want me to grow this certain tomato? Do you like lettuce in April? And just kind of being so green about it, I think kind of steered me to best, reach the people who are, eating my stuff.
Right, yeah, because I remember going to a farm in Maryland, and they were working the restaurants as well and saying, "What do you want? What can we grow for you?" And it makes a lot of sense in a way instead of just growing things that are not gonna get eaten or used.
Mhm, mhm. And I wanted to enjoy it and it looked good and taste good too. I kinda wanted to also then push it a little bit and what about this, golden beet, or what about this purple radish? So, I did want to stand out and, not grow the yellow squash or the everything that, everybody else was growing.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's, like, a story to it, and some heirloom stuff was super popular back then and still is, and so, um being unique and yeah, so making it look good.
And, okay, I wanna jump back to you getting into this in 2009. I mean, your background is in social work and management, and when you were sitting on that hill with your dad, deciding to do this, I mean, you kinda just said it. I'm like, what did you know and what did you have absolutely no idea about that you really kinda wished that you had learned, or is it best to learn on the job?
For me, I think I learned better by making a mistake and then, like, figuring it out, and I remember, like, washing certain things that didn't need to be washed, and they'd turn black, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, what what just happened?" So it's, learning as I go, and I think the social work background kind of helped me, like, connect food to people, so and help me I was walking into patients' rooms, and so that communication piece kinda goes along with, food too. Way here, in the food system too. So whether it's a restaurant or it's my neighbor or, you wanna come out and have an experience here at the farm, I feel like we have been the place for a lot of that, and definitely social work kinda brought me, um, to coming up with, ways to help people.
Well, and it's a big communication, asset, to be able to share with what you're growing and I love that, to be able to explain to what you're doing in a calm way versus a sales pitchy way. Excuse me. Um,
Right.
so just before we, got on, you said in May you're gonna have strawberries, but so what's a typical season at Bloomsbury? And, what are you growing now, and what do you grow all year long, and do you do cover crops, and explain all that? Did that come through?
Yeah, we are, yes, a year-round farm. We Yes. Year-round, we sell to Nashville twice a week, every week of the year, and then, is my internet going away? Are you okay here?
No, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, you can, okay. Um, yes, and then we have a 3-season CSA. This is week 2 of our spring season. We do 10 weeks in the spring, 20 weeks in the summer, and another 10 weeks in the fall. So yes, we'll pick up another market in May here locally. We open up the farm stand in March as well. Um, so yes, we're certified organic, which means, lots of composting and documenting. Um, our seed choices always come from organic. And then yeah, we're also GAP certified, which is good
Yeah.
agriculture practices
Mhm.
that kind of allows us to get in more wholesale distribution channels. So I think those kinds of things set us apart. But you're gonna say, "Oh, I remember Lauren told me about this." So make a note. But I do see us going the more regenerative agriculture route. I think there's a lot of push for a different way of farming other than organic. So I'm excited to kind of push some boundaries and be one of the first here in Tennessee that hopefully will get certified here. Yeah, so we regenerative is it's more like the soil inputs.
Okay.
It's making sure that you're improving, and so I'm excited to see some of that happen. It's making sure the farm's going to be around for the kids, and really kind of honing in on some of the microbes in the soil and stuff. So yeah, not only certified organic, GAP certified, but hopefully one day regenerative will be a term that everyone's more familiar with. So yeah.
Yeah, I recently saw an Instagram post about one farm in Texas that's brought a bunch of other farmers onto his land to teach them about regenerative because they've been so dry and they need to learn how to
Yeah.
work with the soil.
Yep. So I'm excited to kind of educate myself and the team about, a different way to kind of be kinder to the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking to your chefs and to meeting planners or to people who are buying you, how important is that organic and GAP certified as and even the regenerative? Are you getting your customers that are asking for those certifications?
Yeah, I do feel like we're a little ahead of the mark on the regenerative marketing thing, but
Hmm.
I think back, 17 years ago, people wanted to know your organic and like how you're farming. So I think that helped us, being this no-name person who was just kind of winging it. I think that kind of helped the shoppers at the market trust us. The chefs don't really care about that organic seal. They want to make sure that it was harvested that day and it's gonna taste really good. So that wasn't a concern of theirs, but grocery stores are gonna want that organic seal. Distributors are gonna want the organic and they want it grown within like a 30-mile radius. And
Right.
so I was trying to grab so many things to help get us, on the plane for as many people wanted our food as we possibly could. Um, so if the grocery store dropped us, I had CSA customers or vice versa. I think, yeah, I think I needed some of those seals to kind of put me on a stage where people kind of trusted me in the very beginning, because I didn't come from that, and it was people were taking this home and feeding their families, so I needed
Right.
to step it up a little bit.
Well, and one of my friends explained to me a couple of years ago, he's like, you have to have three legs to your stool so that you're balanced at all times. And I think that's a good, like that approach that you took for grocery stores and the CSA is the legs to your stool.
Right,
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Um,
feel like
so I mean, it kind of intrigues me that you said the chefs weren't really looking for it with when so many of their customers are looking for those, at the same
sure,
time.
sure. I think they didn't really need that to operate. They just, a lot of them actually came out here and stepped foot on the farm. So then they were kind of able to put eyes on things and whether they trusted me or not. Um, and I was telling them how I was like practicing, but they didn't need that audit per se
Okay.
to have their meal taste amazing. They just wanted it picked that day and to be clean and like fresh. And so I think that was more important to the chefs.
And that's a good point. I mean, because if it's going to be right there and it's not sitting on a truck going from California to Nashville, it's much better.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
So, and you said you delivered to the chefs in Nashville like twice a week.
Yep. Yeah, I think being in there, like having availability so that they can get fresh items, I think, was important, and doing it year round. Like I wasn't going to market year round at the very beginning because I hadn't figured out kind of winter growing, but being a staple at the market and being on in the chef's inbox like twice a week, I feel like that consistency, whether it be just potatoes and like onions or something, I think that they started to trust me, being consistent in that way.
Well, and something that I was reading that because you call those chefs directly, my hair's like flying all over. Um, and I was reading like that you think about new vegetable varieties with their menus in mind. What do you wish more chefs and event planners understood about that relationship? Because having that relationship with the chefs, and I love the fact that you brought them on to the farm, it's a stronger bond and Like, I mean, I've talked to people, I'm like, "Oh, I just get everything from Cisco." Like, and
Sure.
it doesn't matter, right?
Sure. I think like sending them pictures and saying, we had a frost. It's going to be a couple weeks before we recover from this. And just being super honest with like what was going on out in the field. And if my driver didn't show up and I was going to be late or, yeah, I think just, it's easy to order from Cisco because they are that even more consistent than I could ever be. But I think, bringing them on it with a journey, and so they would kind of know how we operate, and it was just a more, um, yeah, I think the understanding was there.
And it's a
So
partnership
yeah,
then. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Um,
right, yeah.
so, as a female farmer, woman farmer, what do you want and who just jumped right into this? I mean, how has that experience been? And what do you want other women who want to get into farming, um, what do you want them to know? And what guidance can you provide them?
Yeah. I think we're seeing a lot of like ladies in the food business, and I love it. The regenerative girls that I spoke to are two amazing ladies out in California, but it was nice to see two females on the other side of the screen. So I think we come at it with like care and attention to detail. And yes, I saw that one leaf on that kale didn't look so good, so I want to pull it out. And um, I think just starting slow and intentional and finding your niche is important and what kind of sets you apart from the others. Um, we've just done that being full disclosure and the biggest yes farm ever and to a fault. But yeah, I think I highly suggest a career in agriculture and in food. It's been super rewarding to me and I'm able to touch a lot of people and it's opened up a lot of doors. So yeah.
So like on that note, we're both members of La Dames d'Escoffier. Yay, go Doms. And how is that relationship with the women? And La Dames is an organization for women in hospitality, food and beverage, agriculture, and all the related aspects of those fields. Um, how has that relationship with the Dom members and helped prosper and help you grow?
Yeah, I think this is such a fun group. So I do an event with a winemaker, and I have a CSA drop at one of the ladies shop. And so hopefully like my customers will come in and they'll shop with her and it just I hope that it's like full circle and it all makes sense for everybody. So yeah, I'm getting cheese for one of my parties with the wine friend and they've come out here to do an event or two. So man, there's such a good group of ladies, like from
Mhm.
farmers to restaurant owners. And if, I don't know somebody, then I know somebody in our group is going to help out. So they've just been super open and supportive. So cheering us on for sure.
That's awesome. And how many other female farmers are in the area or in Tennessee?
Um, I can at the market, I don't know, there's at least three or four of us. So yeah, it's good to see. There's a mushroom friend. There is a meat farmer that's female. And yeah, I love to see. And then I'm telling my friends to go visit them, just super trustworthy. So yeah, I love it.
That's fantastic. Um, so the yes, I like the yes farm thing. So on a hard day, like when you had the frost, what happens? I mean, what do you do when you're talking to your clients or your CSAs and your chefs? What does that hard day look like?
I mean, it's so nice because I feel so embedded with these customers. Like they're almost texting me before and saying, "Hey, is everything okay? How can I help you?" And I'm just like, "Wow, like that's the wonderful community that we're in." And then I got messages on after the fact, like, and you were messaging, "Hey, is everything okay there?"
Hmm.
So, I feel super supportive in that. Like, it's so nice, but if I couldn't handle this like last little wind bout and storm, then I wasn't meant to be a farmer. So it has toughened me up in a lot of ways. And there's not, I mean, we take our precautions, but at a certain point you just have to let it ride out and see what happens. Um, so yeah, we're used to the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Um, well, okay, so with that, climate change, I mean, have you
Yeah.
seen a lot of difference in the 17 years on the farm? Like, how is everything changed, or has it prospered because of it? Or
Um, I mean, every year just looks a little bit different,
Mhm,
but I think it's been fairly consistent. I remember there was one big drought year. Um, so we got a pretty big winter too. And I mean, I guess I haven't seen like anything like too wild to note, but
mhm,
it is probably getting warmer for sure. Yeah.
okay. And that impacts your water usage and
The water, how long I can grow a product before it's starting to bolt, or
mhm.
uh, the measures we have to take to cool it down. So yeah, definitely.
And okay, so you said you had hoop houses and then you've got other things that are grown outside of the hoop houses. Can you talk about what those different things are and what you have to do differently in those environments?
Yeah, so the hoop house just kind of gives us a little a jump start, I guess. So we're
Okay.
able to kind of put in some things that we're able to know the amount of water that's going in. We can put a shade on it and we can, let it open up the sides for air. So it's a little more temperature control in the hoop houses. And it does give us like a month or two. Like I can go ahead and put tomatoes in, now versus waiting until, May to put in the tomato. So we're able to kind of to start them in the prop house, then transition them outside. And so we have different successions of plants coming in. That way we can have a longer, cash crop kind of coming out at different times. So it keeps food, you know, available longer for sure.
Yeah. How do you balance everything that you're growing between your CSA, the farm stand, the chefs? I mean, does everybody get all the same things? And is your CSA, I want this, this, and this, or is it a secret box?
Um, we kind of have a schedule of like what works in CSA, and then we're still gonna throw you some oddballs in there, just like a cold and then you're gonna have to figure it out. Um, but yeah, so people have access to the stuff that's in like the chefs do in the CSA box. It is kind of wild. We kind of guesstimate the numbers, and Lordy mercy, I do not do numbers. So thank goodness for, some people who do spreadsheets. But yeah, we kind of guesstimate CSA numbers, and we have a history of like what chefs have purchased in the past, and then where we think we can, ask some distributors to move some things too. So it is kind of a guessing game,
Mhm.
and hope the best. So yeah.
Um, when you first started, I wanna go back to that, and because you just mentioned the word distributors. Was it you, going to those restaurants and or calling the chefs and coming them out, and then but you going door to door like a
For
former shoe
sure.
salesman, and now you have
Yes.
got distributor partners?
Yeah, for sure. I remember not selling stuff at market, and then I was already in town, so I just was knocking on doors asking if they'd take the seconds from market. And then definitely some tears. I remember some chefs being like, "Oh no, it's not any good," or they wanted this size versus that size. I mean, it was just you just got to get in there and see what they want. And but I remember feeling a little brokenhearted at times, knowing that my tomato had cracks in it and I needed to go back and get the other ones, or whatever. Um so yeah, I definitely did some door-to-door stuff. I send samples to town all the time, pictures on, social media to entice some people. And yeah, definitely had people out to, see, touch, and feel some of the stuff to see if that's what they wanted.
And your distributors, did you need to provide them a certain, like, I know some prepackaged stuff, some distributors want a certain amount to be able to even
Sure.
add you
Yeah.
as a customer. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's been kind of nice. Last year we've been working in like kind of crop planning with the distributor, which is kind of wild. And in years past, it's just been like, hey, I've got 10 cases. Do you want them? Kind of thing. But we're kind of being like, this is some pars for us to grow and kind of guarantee them. And then we're able to kind of plan too. So it's working out. It's kind of wild. Some chefs don't even do that. So, um, having kind of a list of like spring items we can guarantee them and the summer items we can guarantee them. It feels really nice that it's already out the door before it even gets here. So yes, and I remember there was a race to get into a grocery store. There was a client, or there's another grower at the market who was like, "Oh, I'm going to get into this grocery store," and I was like, "Well, by golly, I want to." He was growing the same stuff that I was. I'm gonna do it first. So like in my head, I had just had this race to do that before he did. And um, I think just kind of trying to be the first to market and have my name on the shelf was something I was interested in, and just went for it.
And that's a completely different market than going directly to the chefs, and it's a whole nother level of how much you can provide, right?
Yeah. And also them knowing how we were growing and what to expect. They couldn't be asking for peppers in March. So they had to, there was some learning curve on their side too, understanding how we were doing things. So yeah, a level of insurance, a level of audits that we had to complete. And um, they had to approve the packaging before it came in. And so yeah, lots of hoops to jump through, but it's been nice to be on, have some marketing on some shelves at some groceries. So, uh, if I can't go to market 5 days a week, so essentially it's doing the marketing for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's been worthwhile for us to do all the different avenues.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my cough. Um, the Oh, I just with my cough, I lost my question. Okay, so you also do farm events.
Yes.
So talk, I've got meeting planners that are listening to me, listening to us chat about this. So what kind of events do you do on the farm? And I mean, you're going to serve, do you have your own chefs, or they bring their chefs and use your food? How does that all work?
Yeah, so I was having a neighbor come by and shop before he went to market on Saturday. He would come out and load his basket up because he lived close by, as opposed to going, half an hour away to grocery shop. So I was like, well, if this guy's coming to the farm on Friday, why don't I just open up the farm to anybody else close by who wants to pick up, like, have a VIP experience? So yes, opening up the farm on Friday was really nice. And then it kind of turned into like this yard hang. And then people wanted to book their birthday parties here. So once they were stepping foot on the farm, I think they were like, oh, this could be a great place for a wedding, or what about a photo shoot? So um then, everyone started talking and kind of posting, and it's been nice that all this stuff has kind of come pretty naturally. We keep the farm, pretty tidy, and it's been fun to see people kind of create lots of different stories and moments here for sure. So, but yeah, we'll do some seasonal dinners here. We do a couple in the spring and a couple in the fall. It just depends. Like some chefs will reach out and want to work with me, or I'm buddies with somebody and then I'll ask. Um, but it's been everything from like a potluck style, where we just have the chef do like a long table of food, or we're doing
Yep.
open fire type stuff, or more like a seated kind of experience with lots of like staff. So I kind of love all of that, whether just I just love getting people out here to experience it. So we'll do some seasonal dinners. We do some education on the farm, like event wise, like a flower making workshop or what else? Like a wreath making, or even we'll bring in some pottery girls and they'll do a vase for the flowers or an egg carton. So literally people give me ideas all the time, and selfishly a lot of it's what I want to do too. So
Right.
I just invite all the friends to come out and experience the farm.
And do you have a building for people to do an undercover event, or is it just open?
More times than not, it's just open. We do have a like a 30 by 60 pavilion with the sides are open. Um, and yeah, so it's we try to time it to where it's not like too much weather events like happening,
Right.
but we do have a covered space at my Airbnb location, so we have to be strategic about some of that, but for the most part it's been on our side, and yeah, we whatever it might be. So yeah.
Yeah. So how many staff do you have? Because you're not doing this all by yourself.
Oh my gosh, no, I will be the first to tell you that it does take a team for sure. So there is a driver who's like 2 and 3 days a week. We've got market staff that only works on weekends, office people, thank goodness for them, warehouse crew that we bring in the vegetables to the warehouse and then they wash and pack. And then like 3 or 4 people out in the field who are just harvesting and bringing stuff to the warehouse. So yes, about in high season, we'll bring on a few harvesters in the summer, maybe like 15 people. Yeah.
And
So
are you
yeah,
hand harvesting or are you harvesting with machinery?
hand harvesting, we do have a planter that is mechanical that you can ride on and plant. But yes, all very labor intensive, hand tools. And then we've got some buggies that will get you there and bring the vegetables back. But yes, it's very labor intensive.
And that takes a lot of time then.
Yes, yes. And in summertime they'll get here like 5:36 to beat the heat. And then they're out by like, 2 and 3 o'clock. So we've got to be smart, making sure the people are safe in the summer when, it's crazy hot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Um, okay, so what has been, I want to get into a little Women's HERstory Month kind of things here. Um, what has been the most important to you as a farmer in building this farm and community and this life? And I know you've got two girls as well. So what's been important for you in doing that and then raising the girls on the farm?
Yeah, I think I mean my access to people and like the community. I think if I needed a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer, it's all within like my CSA group and people who are like talking or like shopping with me.
Mhm.
So I think collecting amount of the people that will one day help you, or I think that's been important. And yeah, having access to food here on the farm. I think the girls appreciate going down and like cutting our own lettuce and collecting our own eggs. Um, but running a summer camp and having food and going to market and having different events, I just want to show that like just about anything is possible, and you kind of have to be open to some of that. So yeah, I remember someone told me that one day you're gonna have buses and buses like come out to the farm. I was like, no, like this is why we bought the land, is to be kind of private, but we've definitely opened the doors and the floodgates for sure, and just it's more good than bad for sure. So with the hailstorm or whatever, I will take that because I feel very fed by the food and the community for sure.
That's awesome. So, can you share a moment when you really when you realized Bloomsbury Farm was truly making an impact? Is there one moment, or has it just been and onto your community and the food system in general?
One moment. I mean, I love doing these podcasts and getting more. I think that's I never just really saw myself like doing like media and stuff. So it's always super fun to get asked to come on these kinds of things or be in a magazine or all that stuff is like wild to me that like that was ever gonna happen. So yeah, just people are calling me up and asking for me to be on menus and asking to have events here. I think I'm always just kind of blown away when I'm top of mind for people. So um, I I love that. So yeah, that's always
That's
just
awesome.
an aha moment. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, they when I was at the Music City Center, chef wrote your name on the back of a card and said, "Here, you need to call her."
Oh my gosh. See, I mean,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah. I'm like, okay, let's call her. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so what change, whether it's policy, partnership, or practice, would help women in agriculture thrive in the years ahead?
Um, what's policy changes and stuff? Man, there are like a ton of ropes or, hoops you got to jump through. I think they
Because you're a
just,
woman, or just because to be a farmer?
well, just being in food, which, yeah, it's not easy. We've got 3 or 4 different auditing bodies come out here to make sure we're
Oh
doing
wow.
everything right. Versus not doing it right and having no audits. Um, so, so yeah, what policy changes and stuff? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Just
Okay.
maybe, and I think, but farming though is very, we want to help each other out. So I think it is a good industry to be in. And I can talk to guys at the market or ladies at the market. Oh, are you having this problem? And we all kind of talk about it and help each other out. So I um I do think it's an industry that wants you to like do well. So um maybe more education and like hand holding when it comes to, you know, getting boots on the ground.
Well, and I think in the size of your farm, and you're doing so much stuff that's locally versus maybe nationally, right? But does that really kind of help? And is that the way we need to kind of think through farming as well, as like buying our stuff as more local as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. We got asked to, have trucks go to Atlanta with our stuff, and I was like, I have done that for years. We sent a truck to Atlanta. But I think I had no problem moving it locally, and I want it fresh, and I want people to be happy with it once they get it. So if it took me a day to get to Atlanta, and then I don't know how many days it's going to get to the other customer, which is so enticing to move like a large amount of produce in like one big truckload. But I kind of much rather just do small orders to town, really. So yeah, I think keeping it hyper local is super important for taste, nutrition, and health of the community for sure.
And based on where you are, I know you said you're south of Nashville. Do you have other big cities that you go to that are as close to Nashville? Because you're what, 40 minutes from Nashville?
Yeah, so we go to the Franklin Farmers Market. That's in the other direction. So Nashville, Franklin, we kind of keep south of town. We don't really go too much north of Nashville, but like Brentwood, Franklin, Nolensville area is kind of where we tend to get our reach. But yeah.
Okay. Oh, um, okay. Food tells a story. What dish, meal, or an experience that represents your journey and why?
Mm. I make a goodies salad, and that's literally whatever I have handy. And it changes. There was Brussels sprouts in it last night. There was, some like 3 different kinds of lettuces, and my alfalfa sprouts that we grow, and a radish that was a storage radish from back in December. And so it's just kind of a goodies, like a mix. And maybe I'll put an egg on it and maybe I won't. And yeah, I'm a goodies salad, kind of anything goes, girl, for sure.
Okay, that sounds delicious. I get so annoyed when you go to a restaurant and the salad is like iceberg lettuce or just lettuce with tomatoes and carrots. I'm like, where's my purple cabbage? Where's, radishes and all these other things? Yeah. I'm right there with you. I would love your salad. Okay. How do you want to be remembered?
Ooh, I mean, yeah, I think this farm is me to a T, and I love to see it, like, evolve and stuff. So, um, you know, growing people is kind of, growing and feeding people is what I want to be remembered for sure. So whether it's you come out here and you just get some sunlight and maybe, you snack on some kale, like just being a space for whatever that might be. So um yeah, growing people, growing food, that's I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And helping other people bloom where they're planted.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, some rapid fire questions. What crop never gets old for you, no matter how many seasons you've grown it?
Oh, a carrot, man. I love a carrot. Yep, gotta have it.
And do you do all 3 colors or
Oh, yes, for sure, for sure.
yeah.
In
Okay.
different sizes, stubby, whether they have different appendages coming off of them. I love a good carrot.
Carrots are great, crunchy. If you could cook only one thing with something straight from your fields today, what would it be? I think that's your salad, but
Yeah, that's my salad. Yep,
yeah.
anything goes salad.
Okay. What is the biggest myth most people have about organic farming that you'd like to put to rest?
Um,
Mm,
the biggest myth. Um, that it's not that hard. Like, they think it's crazy difficult to get that, and no, you can totally do it. So it's very doable, and I recommend it. It kind of keeps us accountable. So I say do it.
On that note, throwing in an extra question here. Your ugly vegetables, the ones with the extra appendages, do you put those in the CSA boxes? Do you with organic, you're composting. What
Yeah.
happens to that stuff?
So yeah, that the weird looking vegetables are a perfect place for the CSA, and they kind of love that, and they're excited to see like weird things in their basket. It might not sell like retail, but the chefs will cut it up and probably use it. So it might go to a chef too.
That's
Yeah,
okay,
I think it's super fun, and to see all the different weird things that happen in the ground,
yeah, it's fun to see all the different appendages that come out.
for
Um,
sure.
what do you always look for when you walk through a farmer's market as a farmer?
Uh, I don't love plastic. When I see, like, plastic bags, like we use paper bags, and if I'm looking at other, um does it have dirt on it? Does it stand up really, like it hasn't been washed, and does it feel perky and like fresh? Are they pulling it out of like a wax box from, that they got off a truck, or is it in their like personal tote, So I'm kind of looking for stuff like that if I were to shop somewhere else.
Okay. Okay, one ingredient you wish chefs and meeting planners used more often on their menus.
Mm, that's a good one. I mean, I have fallen in love with radishes as an adult. I don't think I
Love
had them at the
radishes.
time when I was a kid. So, yeah, I think there's lots of different shapes and sizes and colors of radishes. So, more radish.
I love radishes and the watermelon radishes.
Yeah, for
Oh my
sure.
god. And then some salt on them. It's so
Yeah,
good. All
yeah.
right, final question. Finish this sentence. Every meal should.
Every meal should be shared with somebody you care about.
No, that's perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Lauren, I am so excited to have talked to you and to share what you're doing. And I hope more people listen to it and come visit you and buy your product. That would be great. I'm going to share, I think there is that that's your Instagram handle and your website. Is there any other way that people can get in hold? What's the best way to get a hold of you besides those two
Um,
places?
I actually answer the phone if you call the phone here at the farm. I definitely answer emails and social media. I am very quick to respond, so I don't leave you hanging. So just hit me up.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you for letting me honor you as a woman making herstory in farming, as a farmer. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure that everybody that buys your food will really love it. So
Thank you, Tracy.
you're welcome. Everybody, this is the show for the week. I've got 3 shows next week to honor some additional FarmHERs for the month, and I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, stay safe and eat well. Thanks.